Right, I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll read our school district mission statement. Grounded by our history as one of the oldest publicly supported schools in Wisconsin, Mineral Point School District is the heart of a small community that educates and inspires our students for a bright future in a big world. This is July regular meeting. We'll take August. Oh, August. Good. Thank you. I'm glad I said it out loud. My goodness. Okay. Roll call.
Bergstrom. Here. Bush.
Here.
Dunn.
Here.
Harris. Eisner.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Skelding.
Here. Okay. Some recognitions.
We had two young men recently graduated, played in the Wisconsin Football Coaches Association All-Star Game. Matthew Allred and Reed Ackerman. Again, this is like a lot of the other All-Stars. Our coaches nominate our student athletes. They're selected from athletes this part of the state and in our division size to be a part of that team. So it is an honor for both of these guys to be recognized by the Football Coaches Association. And they played, as you can see, on July 20th at UW Oshkosh. So congratulations to Reed Ackerman and Matthew Allred for outstanding season and this honor. That's all I have for this month.
Okay. Move on to consent agenda. We've got minutes from the July 9th policy committee meeting. We've got the August 4th joint finance personnel committee meeting. We've got the August 6th policy committee meeting and then the regular July meeting, which I thought was happening tonight. Then we've got bills payable, credit card statement of activity. So I'll take a motion to approve these as a whole, or we can approve them individually.
Make a motion to approve them as a whole.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yes. Bush.
Yes.
Eisner.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Skelding.
Yes.
Dunn.
Yes. The next is communications. We'll start with board communications received. You want to start, Joni?
Certainly, I did not. I had one individual, just in kind of a passing conversation, mention some excitement around the new elementary principal and, thinking that they would do a good job. I think that's the extent of my board communications this month.
I had one staff member reach out about the middle school principal position that you forwarded on to us that I'm assuming we'll talk about in closed session.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing negative. That's it.
Yeah. Okay. I got the same contact. That was it for me.
I also had a contact about a potential donation. I think we all were on that. It was a public email that came through.
I forwarded that to Mr. Wainwright to address.
I had staff member, parents, and community members reach out about the potential new hires and support at the elementary school, which we'll discuss in closed session.
Same, I had multiple contacts regarding that position as well, all positive, so.
Great. Citizen communication, Angie, did anyone sign up? Anyone want to comment online? In public comment period? Going once, going twice. Okay. Go to the info discussion agenda. First is to review the technology budget.
So I was added this late into board book. This is copy of a rolling technology budget. So we're in the 25-26 school year columns. We're in the second column. I go give you the Reader's Digest version. Basically, it shows that we're looking at a reduction in our costs from last year technology budget to this year. It's a savings of about $4,000, $4,500. You can see kind of some of the projections going out. I would say after the 27-28 projections for the budget, they're not 100% accurate. Some of the numbers at the top, some of our IT service fees are not included in those years. We have an agreement through 28, so then that might change what that budget looks like. Some of the information, if you look here under the software, things that you see in light green have already been purchased for the upcoming school year. Some of them are important to have, that like our antivirus, mobile device management fees, some of those kinds of things, setting us up to start the school year with everything that we need to have. We look at, one of the things that looks at change for next year. We do a rotation. We try to make sure we stay up to date. We're looking at needing to purchase iPads if those two grade levels want to update those and stay with iPads. If they want to go to a different technology, we'll look at what that might be. Is it going to be a Chromebook for a first grader? Is it still the iPad? So we put some of those numbers in as a placeholder, and I work with CM Consultants for this as well. If there's a change, then we'll make sure that we're adjusting our budget accordingly and putting it in the right areas. But you see firewall support licensing. That has been purchased, since that's in the light green. So basically you have all of our fees. And again, I get this from CM Consultants. We sit down in the spring of the year and start talking about certain things. What can we do? We purchased some Chromebooks. So there was some cost savings in this fiscal year because we purchased some Chromebooks early and got that out of this year's budget. We have tried to do some of those kind of things similarly all along when we're looking at the tech budget to try to manage technology, the district monies being spent to the best of our ability. So you have kind of a copy of what we're looking at this year. And I will point out again, the CM Consultant fees, those will run through E-rate. So I'm anticipating we get a rebate check from E-rate for a dollar amount this fall, because it always comes a year after. So some of our E-rate monies had been expended already, so it won't be the full 60%. But moving forward, I'm looking at probably getting a rebate check basically of 60% on their services. So in the long run, that IT service is going to be less than half of that really when it hits us.
What line item on here represents security? Two-part question. And do we feel, given things that have happened throughout the county with computer security, that we are as secure as we reasonably can be?
I would say yes, because our systems are monitored. I won't say there's somebody at a computer 24/7, but there are systems in place that monitors our computer network to that level. We have basically our backups. We go down to the firewall and our firewall support licensing. That gives us the most up-to-date protection from outside attacks. Plus, we then also talk in-house about what did I see it? Not phishing. There was another term along that line where it's like might be a directed. Hey Joni, Mitch Wainwright sent you an email asking you to take care of this. So our staff are aware of those kinds of things and make sure that they double check. They're not clicking in. I'll give you a specific example. Our business manager received an email saying, yeah, go ahead and run this purchase order, because it supposedly came from me. And it wasn't a company that we'd done business before. And she shot me an email and said, is this you? And I'm like, no. And, we sent it off to CM to flag and do whatever they have to. But we try to educate our staff too on that, on that level of, here's a general email. People have reached out to me before because somebody can simply copy, my email address and paste it in there and send it out like it did come from me. So we educate our staff. We have this security system basically through CM Consultants as well.
They do like testing for phishing and stuff like that.
They
Okay.
they take time to go through and make sure we're not being attacked from outside sources.
But all the same system that supports like invoicing. When you talked about purchase orders, I'm thinking about like Danielle getting an invoice or a bill that looks just like it came through
Our financial side is on a separate server in comparison to like the student and staff side of it. So there is an additional layer there that kind of separates Skyward finances
but
from
it's
that.
also like, it's supported with firewall and CM.
Yes,
and all
yes,
this.
absolutely.
They do backups on all those.
Yes.
They ever test out having to like recover from a backup scenario?
Have they ever tested it here? I would say no. Not that I'm aware of. But I know they have. They can shut everything down and reboot back to a certain time, whatever.
So Mitch, can you scroll down to the total for this year's budget? So we're at 322. Is that the number that was in the budget that we approved?
Yes.
Okay. So, and then everything you have in green has been prepaid?
We've already purchased those things. Yes.
Was that from last year's surplus, or that's from this year's budget?
It's from this year's budget.
Okay, got it.
Yep. This is one of the reasons, classroom stuff. This is another reason why we need a preliminary approval of the budget when we do, so that we can start doing these things over the summer. And then if they have to physically be on site to make some of these switches or updates, they have that ability to do so.
What's the yellow? For next year?
Looking for price quotes, knowing we need to have an updated price quote. They're for the following school year. So internet filtering solution, they're anticipating an increase. And some of these things we try to purchase, on a 3-year agreement or a 5-year agreement or whatever. We try to make sure we're getting the best bang for our buck, so to speak, when it comes to all the district funds. So they know that they have to track down some pricing for us.
Thank you.
Yep.
And related to the purchases conversation, when it says 5 years purchase 324, that just means the purchase was made and will depreciate it after 5 years.
Yep. Any additional questions?
Does it take into account potential tariff impacts to the prices?
That's why I asked you to do some Chromebook purchasing ahead of time.
Okay.
Because they kind of talk to some of their reps too, and it's like, hey, this is coming, or it sounds like this is going to get passed on. You might want to start looking at this. So that's why I came to you, and we made some Chromebook purchases early to try to get in behind or ahead of some of those impacts.
Any questions for tech budget? Okay. All right, next we'll get an update on the high school math teacher position.
We'd had a candidate reach out to the school district, asked some questions. I've not seen an application yet. We're hopeful. We have reached out to UW-Platteville. They have no interns for this first semester. They have some availability second semester. If we get to that point, if we don't have an application or an applicant that we feel is qualified to do the job. Mr. Austin has reached out to a retired teacher, a retired math teacher, and has begun some of those conversations to get the year started if that's where we end up falling. So we'll have somebody here for that upper level, most likely somebody that can help us at least in the advanced algebra and pre-calc. Our AP Calc numbers, we try to run that class every year, even though the numbers are small. This might be a year where we have to make arrangements either to have them go to UW-Platteville for the class or find an online source for them and try to support them in-house to the best of our ability. So right now we don't have any applications to bring in, interview and offer at this point in time. But there's a connection to a couple of current employees, a really solid connection to a couple of current employees. So we're hopeful of that. That brings in this candidate, comes highly recommended. So we're hopeful. We have our fingers crossed that that this person comes. And I hate to say that that's our game plan right now, but we have a fallback to try to support our students for the upper level math classes, should we not get an applicant.
What kind of capacity do we have to offer a class virtually? Yeah, I mean, I've seen we have like small rooms where maybe like 1 or 2 students can do like a teleclass, but do we, if let's say you had 8 kids that want to take AP Calc, do we have the space and technology to set that up?
Yes, I mean, their Chromebooks would be able to allow them to connect and take the class virtually.
Okay.
We would probably, I don't know how many years ago, but I sat in back one classroom when we had some 8th graders take freshman Spanish through a different school district. They just needed an adult supervision in the classroom for the kids to take the class. Somebody else was instructing it. We can certainly reach out to some of our surrounding school districts and try to tie in that way as well.
It wouldn't be tying into a live class. It would be like an independent study.
Well, they would connect with a live teacher.
But it's only if that school's offering it at that time. and
Yeah.
it's
During that period.
During that period,
Right.
yeah. So it's tough.
Yeah.
But it is a
But
potential
they can use
option.
their Chromebooks to
Mhm.
join in. Okay.
You have Edmentum as well, which is an online learning platform. It's got videos and stuff.
Yeah.
I plan on utilizing that. Yeah, it's options.
You said that, sending them to Platteville, UW-Platteville would be an option.
Is an option.
Are there any additional costs with that? Like, are we gonna pay mileage or anything like that for the
We don't pay
students?
mileage, but we pay for the course.
Okay.
And we've done that for students in the past. Last year we had a student drive to Platteville because he's already well advanced past any math class that we could offer here. So we provide those opportunities for our students. We want them to be successful and supported.
Large part of those is they have registered.
For fall.
The plan C, like for you to teach? Is it? Oh. Yeah, I can.
Because with your background, right, you can teach, right?
has
Mitch has, I know, but don't you have to have so much math?
Thank you, Andy.
Oh,
Or if I
There's
missed-
quite a bit of math, so potentially.
Have a math nighter.
I can do one day.
Yeah.
I tapped out on like day 3 when Jacob was in it, so.
I will support it however I can. So we will,
Okay.
we give them the best that we.
All right. Thanks for updating us.
Yeah.
Just keep us posted. All right, we'll go to action agenda. Start with approving the district safety response booklet.
So basically we updated that and basically the updates are name changes. We've taken out somebody that's retired, moved to a different district, inserted person that's in that role. So we're basically just, the book itself has basically remained unchanged. I would ask that you approve that safety handbook.
It was just the edits in red,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Can't see it.
I would say that if you want to go down the list, the same thing would be true for the employee handler. The the athletic handbook. In its infinite wisdom, the WIAA has added a name, image, and likeness capability for high school student athletes now. So we needed to incorporate the language that addresses that NIL language. So that's really the biggest update into the athletic handbook, that our students can now sign these multi-million-dollar contracts to be recognized around the world. I don't know, sell Pepsi or Coke or Ford trucks or whatever, but yeah, it's to me, editorializing this a little bit, it was a great waste of time on the WIAA's part, because I don't know that NIL deals will come in to students in small schools. You know, I think there'll be very limited student impact. But because everybody else was doing it, we felt we better do it too, kind of a thing. I'm not exaggerating. That was one of the things that came out in the WI's argument. It's like, there's only 7 states that don't have an NIL agreement in place for high school athletes. We were one of those 7, so we needed to jump on board with this. So
I don't see any red markings on that handbook that's attached. Do you know what page it was on?
It's at the very end. It's the NIL. It's referred to as access. Amateur status, so it's page 33.
There it is.
That was added.
and this language came directly from the WIA.
Sure. Well, for people listening at home, it basically says students cannot accept money.
If you are connected to the school or the community in any way, shape, or form. So if I was a car dealer and I had a car dealership on the edge of town, I couldn't approach a student and say, hey, if you come to Mineral Point, I can give you some money through NIL to make it more feasible for you. I can offer you a car that you can drive or whatever the case may be. Those are things that are not allowed to happen. You know, so when you see what's happening in big time college sports, you know, somebody's leaving Wisconsin to go somewhere else because they're going to get a $2 million NIL deal. But they feel that why should a student not be able to benefit from their notoriety in some way, shape, or form, that we're stifling someone's earning potential. So there are some rules and regulations surrounding NIL that all schools must follow. But again, I think it's more work than reward for anybody in high school sports.
Make a motion, we approve all three as presented.
Second.
We got a motion to approve all three handbooks. Angie. Any other discussion, comments?
Bush,
Yes.
Eisner,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Gelding,
Yes.
Bergstrom,
Yes.
Dunn.
Yes. All
Thank you.
right, briefly, we'll hit board business. Staff welcome breakfast is August 25th at 8 a.m. if any board members can make it. Our next strategic planning committee is that evening on the 25th. We'll basically be reviewing the community survey from Southwest Regional Planning.
Yeah,
They'll
Troy
be attending the
Maggie,
meeting, correct?
yeah, Troy Maggie and his assistant Alyssa, and I can't remember Alyssa's last name, will be here that night, and they'll present the information that they were able to gather from the 3 community sessions that they held. And then Alyssa and the team met with last year's juniors and seniors separately, classes separately to kind of get some input from the students too, to kind of get a take on community and school district. So hopefully that'll all be rolled into the information that they provide.
Great. And then our next meeting with the staff reps is September 15th. So that should be all on the Google Calendar.
And it's at 6.
Yeah.
What's the deadline for that? Like, do we ask staff for topics at a certain point? The reps, and then they talk to their peers and things like that. But can we talk me through the deadlines for those timelines?
I mean,
Timelines and
I think it's fluid right now, since we don't have anything set. So, I think if we can come up with some reasonable, window of time for a response, and then, set a deadline that we're comfortable with to put an agenda together. I think giving them a couple weeks to solicit feedback, and then maybe, the week before to have an agenda, I think would be a good start.
15th is a Monday, correct?
Speaking of that, are we planning on having the same? I'm trying to remember, because Gina left, she was a staff rep for a while, I think. Are we gonna have the same group that we had at the last meeting, or are we gonna have a chance for people to say, yes, I want to do this again this year, or
I can certainly do that. I can reach out to the group and ask them if they want to still be a part of it. I know we added a couple members as the year went on last year. We can reach out and see if anybody has a strong desire to be a part of those meetings.
John, will you be at the welcome meeting?
I think so.
Maybe that's a time for you to ask.
I was thinking the same thing. It's a Monday, isn't it?
Yes, 25th is a Monday.
Yes. I think I can make that work. Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna say that orientation week might be a good time to just kind of try to establish a new group for this year, even if it is mostly the same, Okay. Anything else on board business I missed?
I just think when we ask for topics for the 15th meeting, like we limit it to like no more than 3 so that there can be discussion and actions taken,
Mm-hmm.
at least actions identified.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and timing wise, we won't have a committee meeting, because if we reach out to them on like the week of the 25th, let's say, just to say, okay, who's on the list? Talk to your peers, send some questions by this date. We won't have a committee meeting to also say, here's the thing we need to bring to them right now. But we will though.
You'll have committee
The
meetings.
first will be tough.
Before it.
Are we
First is
having-
Labor Day.
And are we
So I wasn't
having a committee
planning.
meeting? Assume we're not doing meetings that Monday then, are we?
The first.
I would say no.
I guess if any of the committees have a topic, think about what the last few agendas have been so that we can bring that to like, the board would like to talk about these things. You bring us 2 more items, or we might not have anything specific.
Yeah, we have the regular September meeting on the 8th, just the Monday before,
And policy will be on the 4th.
on Thursday. Oh, first
Third,
Wednesday, the
the
3rd.
Wednesday, the 3rd.
Yeah, so we might want to reschedule finance and personnel. If we want to have a meeting. So something to think about. Okay. Back to the agenda. We're now at employee services. Mitch, maybe would it be okay to do like a what we could do is just introduce each hire, where you kind of say, well, there were 3 applicants, or there were 8 applicants, and we had 2 interviews, and this is who we selected, and we could introduce each one, and then we could either entertain a motion for approval or table it until after closed session. That way we can kind of have every candidate introduced in open session. What do you think about that?
Certainly can.
Do you guys want to do it any differently? I'm just trying to think about how to lay this out. Okay.
So the first candidate before the board tonight is Neil Lavinger. Neil had applied for the elementary dishwasher position. It's 3 hours a day, $15 an hour. So there were only 2 other applicants. Kimmy met with the applicants and recommended Neil for that position. We have the next candidate. The next position is for the elementary school principal. There were 8 applicants. Ended up being 10, but there were 8 applicants that I sent out to a team of admin, support staff, teaching staff at the elementary school. They ranked the candidates. There was a clear differentiation between candidate 3 and 4 as far as the rating scale was concerned. So we brought in the top 3 candidates. I had several of that original committee were unable to make it the day of the interviews due to family scheduling conflicts. We had a team of 13 people that interviewed the 3 candidates. We let them know it was going to be a larger number. I tried to prep them a little bit too. It will be a relaxed environment, but you're going to see a wide range of staff members. We had 2 specials, 3 grade levels, multiple people from 3 grade levels, an admin team. Somebody in the office kind of did an informal interview, and I always kind of like that greeting, what's the personality like? How are they? So I interviewed the 3 candidates. There was a clear differentiation between candidates 1 and 2, candidate 3 through the first round of voting. So we talked about the top 2 candidates, a lot of discussion, a lot of good dialogue, a lot of good questions. We did another round of voting, and the clear majority of the people in the interview committee recommended Tony Dahl as the elementary school principal candidate to bring to the school board.
Were there second interviews?
Nope. 1 round. And I asked the group after, we started interviewing at 9. We started discussing the candidates by 11:30. And an hour and a half later, we came to this decision. At the end of the decision, I said, so now it's up to me to have this negotiation to see if they would accept the offer. Said if they don't accept the offer, and I did this as a building principal too. It's like if candidate 1 says no, are you comfortable with me going to candidate 2? And it was a resounding no through the room. They were not comfortable with me offering the position to candidate number 2, even after an hour and a half discussion about who they felt was maybe the better candidate to lead them forward, qualifications. So that to me told me that they felt that they could move forward with this candidate. I even asked them that question. Is there anything that would prevent us from moving forward with Tony Dahl? And they all supported that and said, yes, we can move forward with Tony Dahl. So that's their recommendation. I support that wholeheartedly. Coming out of committee, a recommendation to remove the assistant title from Brooke McGraw at the middle school. make her a middle school principal, maintain her contract as is. The 3 additional positions available, I'll ask Angie Klein to speak to them. We had 3 support staff positions. 1 is a replacement. We lost Gina Spurley during the course of the year. We filled in with a long-term sub to get us to the end of the school year. That individual was not interested in taking that position on full-time, posted it, so we have a replacement for that individual. Then we had 2 students move in at their IEPs require a one-on-one support system. And Angie and a team conducted those interviews. Angie, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, we just had we just such a great pool of candidates. I think there were 16 or 17 applicants. We actually brought in 10 applicants to interview, a team of 7. So I had 2 special ed teachers, maybe a team of 6, 2 special ed teachers, 2 first grade 2 classroom teachers, myself, and somebody else on the team. But long day of interviews, just really exceptional candidates that we had this time. But like Mitch said, it's replacing one that left us around spring break last year, and then move in whose IEP requires additional support. So
we have Jenny Walleen as a recommendation. For those of you who might know, Jenny's a former employee of ours. She taught Spanish for several years and then stepped away a few years ago. Fontana Soderstrom. Fontana comes highly recommended from another district. She's worked as an instructional assistant in another school district, so she's got plenty of experience. And then Alicia Hathaway is the 3rd candidate.
Alicia has worked in the role in a previous district a few years ago and has done daycare in between the 2. So lots of experience with children, supporting their diverse needs.
Great. Well, we could take a motion to approve these hires all together or individually, or we could take a motion to table the new hires until after closed session. Then we would discuss the 4th grade section position in open session.
I'll make a motion to move all new hires into closed session.
So after closed session.
Until after closed session, sorry.
Okay.
I will second.
We've got Johnston and Heisner. Any discussion about this motion? Some people have been joining online. They probably want to know how we're going to vote on these. And I know when we go into closed session, then the Zoom gets shut off, right? And it's difficult to restart it, right? Because it's a new link or something
It'll be a
like
new
that.
meeting, yes.
Okay. So
We can pause the meeting and leave the room.
yeah,
They're also here to see if we're going to add a section to 4th grade as well.
I
But
understand.
we can pause the meeting and the board can step to the old school board room and have a closed session meeting if that's what you wish. We can leave this meeting in place for this time.
It'll be easier. for
Yeah.
people.
Mhm.
Let's do that if there's people still on. By the time we're done with this subject, but I mean,
Which subject?
by the time we're done talking about the 4th grade
So you're going to talk about
Position.
that?
now, before we go into closed session.
Okay, so you have a motion and a second to go to closed session,
No,
For the
table,
approvals.
To table the hires.
to table the hires.
Until after
Okay.
closed session.
So then I would go ahead through that motion, through that vote, and then we can go to the 4th grade section.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay. Sorry about that.
Move all new hires to after.
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Gelding,
Yes.
Bergstrom,
Yes.
Bush,
yes,
Heisner,
Yes.
Dunn.
Yes. Okay, so now we'll talk about adding a 4th grade section for next year and posting a position. If you want to introduce that.
At last month's school board meeting, there was discussion around some of the academic data from the different building levels. And conversation came up about what to do or how to address what is now going to be the 4th grade class. We were asked to bring back a recommendation as to how to address the number of students, the larger class size, and some of the academic needs. The admin team met to have this conversation. Mr. Engwall reached out to the elementary staff, asked for some input from anybody that has worked with this grade level in 3rd grade and potentially, how we can support them in 4th grade. And as an admin team, we had a rather lengthy conversation, and feel free to ask any of my additional administrators in the room. A lot of it came down to what has the best impact for the students in that grade level and has the least negative impact on any other students when it comes to support for reading and math in the elementary school. Based on interventionists' time period, we also know that we talked about using the middle school reading interventionist is already planning time in the elementary school to provide supports. But the need was such that while not the best answer financially for the district's budget, it is the best answer for the students. And that was to create a 4th section of 4th grade, bring in a full-time teacher and support that grade level. So that allowed the interventionist to still provide additional supports at that grade level and in that early intervention block where we're trying to make sure that we're building up our readers in kindergarten through 3rd grade. If you remember some of the information, the math scores were not as strong in this particular grade level as well. If we pulled some of our interventionists, that meant we would not be able to provide supports or other grade levels. There'd be less intervention time for other students. So we looked at what has the best impact for the most number of students. And this is the recommendation that came out of the admin meeting to bring forward to the school board.
There was a concern around space that was shared during the last meeting. Have you been able to consider alternative solutions to locating an additional section?
We have, and it's a capital IF. I had
Understood.
somebody reach out to me as well. It's like, well, if this is the direction, this is just our recommendation. Well, if the board approves this, then we'll have additional conversations with the staffing. If the board doesn't, we're still going to have to try to carve out some space for some of these other interventionists to be able to work with students. So yeah, again, it's not ideal. We don't have classroom space available. Just, empty rooms waiting. So no matter what decision is made, there's an impact somewhere. But we've weighed as many options as we possibly can. And just are waiting on final decision when it comes to this. And I would look at this as basically a 2-year loop. We would bring this person in, they work with them as 4th graders, work with them as 5th graders, and into that 2-year loop, class size numbers come down. Hopefully all of our early intervention strategies are working and students are getting the knowledge they need and have a strong base. The numbers of students needing PRPs is reduced based on the reading curriculum and the other pieces that we're using there, so that in 2 years' time, we would be able to either absorb this person into a retired teacher's position, if that's the case, or we would simply, and unfortunately, part ways after a 2-year window.
Does a contract need to be written in a manner that would specify that it wouldn't be a negative action, it would be this position no longer exists?
Right. We would be upfront with anybody applying for the position. Teacher contracts basically are a year-to-year contract. But yes, we would be very, very honest and upfront with what we're looking to do and why we're doing it.
So you said that this position would loop with the students in through fifth grade. So the other three fourth grade classrooms would move up to the fifth grade teachers, but this teacher would keep this group of students for 2 years?
That is one way of doing the looping. The other way, I mean, they could be mixed up and they could have a mix of students the following year
Okay.
in fifth grade. We would certainly do what we think is best for the group of students. But I have seen it both ways where I get the same group from year 1 to year 2, or we can mix the students.
So
I-
in other words, this year they'd be a fourth grade teacher, next year they'd be a fifth grade teacher.
Correct.
Okay.
And a lot of people, myself included, really believe that this team of fourth grade teachers that we have will do a phenomenal job incorporating a new staff person into everything that they're doing. Supports curriculum. They are probably top PLC group when it comes to curriculum planning, assessing, what their assessments are, having meetings around all of the data, what's the data telling us, and those kinds of things. So we feel that this group of teachers will be in a great position to help bring on somebody, whether it's an experienced teacher wanting to come here or it's a brand new teacher still looking for their first job. We feel this group will do a great job incorporating a new staff member.
Safe to say that they support this idea?
Yes. I shared with 2 of the 3 fourth grade team members that would be our recommendation coming to the Personnel and Finance Committee meeting. They seem to be rather excited by that thought that this would be the recommendation coming to the full board.
They were part of the solution, like brainstorming.
Correct.
They meaning the fourth grade teachers.
Yes.
This was recommended out of a joint finance personnel committee. Your chair of personnel, do you have any additional comments just from how the committee kind of hashed this out?
I think it was unanimous that the data shows we need to do something. And we applauded the staff for getting together and being proactive and coming up with solutions. I feel overall we support adding the fourth section.
Any comments from a budget standpoint, as finance chair?
I mean, we're coming off of, a budget meeting where things were better than we anticipated. We'll be backfilling that better than anticipated and going back to where we thought we might be, but we've also historically operated under budget. So as long as we continue to operate efficiently like we have, and we should be able to absorb this without it being a large hit. And the fact it is a 2-year loop makes it not a long-term budget issue and probably does not impact the length of the referendum and how long we hope to stretch that in a major way. And we also did evaluate in that meeting that the top 3, what we felt were the top 3 choices. And it was kind of unanimous coming out of the meeting that this is what the students really need.
I am grateful to the administration and everyone for looking at this. I'm also disappointed that we're having this conversation in August. I feel like we should have been having it in June. So I'm going to support this. I'm very excited that we're having this conversation. I wish we would have had it months ago.
Agree.
Move to approve?
I move to approve.
One question, Mitch, one of the many reasons I'm going to support this is because this is a position with an expiration date in 2 years. Do you anticipate, based on younger classes, that there'll be a need to add a section in another grade, based on pre-K kindergarten numbers, anything?
At this point, I would say no. We're we're not seeing a lot of data that would point to that need right now. And you want data to make this decision around and some of the test scores, the data, and we talked about a couple months ago, one of our goals as an admin team is to find the best assessment piece that gives us accurate data, what we're looking for, because if we use one assessment, we're knocking it out of the park. We look at another assessment and we're doing good work. We look at another assessment and we're struggling in places. So that's part of one of the reasons why we're looking at as much data as we can to make these decisions. And, we talked about not really adding things when we added or when we went to referendum, and it's unfortunate, but this is the need we have in front of us. And we have some of those dollars that we can use to help offset some of these costs, but yes, looking at some of the data in the other grades and the level of support we have, number of years that these kids will have coming through, we feel that there's the supports they should be able to have those supports and get what they need coming out of that third grade, making that step to fourth grade.
One of the things we talked about in the joint committee meeting was the actual return on investment when you look at the data for that particular group of students is on top of Act 20 happening, and the numbers of students who would need some kind of support or intervention are astronomically higher, in my opinion, than the surrounding grades. That's a factor. And then you think about all of when you're pulling other intervention, will never get that. The amount of need that's showing up in that class, well, it can't be intervened out of, so to speak.
Correct.
Having smaller class sizes, more direct instruction related to their content. And then we're also not draining other resources for intervention for other classes by doing this. So the return on investment in 6th grade and 7th grade will hopefully be also worth it because we won't need as many resources down the road. We did talk about that side of the data too.
Any other discussion? Okay, Angie?
Eisner,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Gelding,
Yes.
Bergstrom,
Yes.
Bush,
Yes,
Dunn.
Yes. Okay, I'll take a motion to go into closed session. We'll talk about any candidate-specific performance concerns for these new hires.
So moved.
And seconded.
Okay. Okay, I'm in a closed session.
Gelding,
Yes.
Bergstrom,
Yes.
Bush,
yes.
Eisner,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Dunn.
Yes. Okay.
So at this time,
Go ahead and pause
we're
and
going
then
to pause the meeting.
go to the boardroom
We
and
can step out. Do you want the admin team to come with you to discuss any of the hires?
you want to do that to start? Or no?
I don't think
no,
so.
Okay.
Which was fine.
Yeah,
A lot of water.
the excitement I don't ever need to experience.
I'm blessed to work with a lot of personnel.
That's such BS.
That's fact.
It is.
Okay, we are back
Boring
into
if you work
open
with the same
session.
personality.
We're back in open session. Okay. So let's go to employee services. Let's start with approving the hire of Neil Lowinger as elementary food service dishwasher.
I move to approve, Neil.
Second.
Any discussion in open session? Okay, Mitch, you doing the votes?
Yes.
Okay. We had a Heisner Skelding
Yes.
motion.
Eisner,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Skelding,
Yes.
Bergstrom,
Yes.
Bush,
Yes,
Dunn.
Yes. Number 2 is approving the appointment of Tony Dahl as elementary school principal and summer school coordinator, a 230-day contract.
I'll make the motion to approve Tony Dawes, elementary principal and summer school coordinator.
Second.
Just for discussion, this replaces Mo Grimm's position?
Nope.
No. This is just summer school, not the
Our
kids' club.
summer school,
Got
correct.
it. Okay, roll call.
Bush,
Yes.
Bergstrom,
Yes.
Eisner,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Skelding. Yes. Done.
Yes. Number 3, promote Brooke McGraw from middle school, high school assistant principal to middle school principal, maintaining the current 210-day contract.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I'll just note that this was a board and committee based recommendation and not a staff request.
Thank you. Mitch, whenever you're ready.
Johnston,
Yes.
Eisner,
Yes.
Skelding. Yes. Bergstrom,
Yes.
Bush.
Yes.
Done.
Yes. Next is approving Jenny Walleen as middle school instructional assistant.
Separate the assistants, or do you want to run them all as one?
I'll take a motion to approve them all as one, or we can approve them individually.
I'll make a motion to approve the hiring of 3 new instructional assistants as
Second.
presented.
Skelding, Bergstrom. Any discussion about these new hires?
Skelding,
Yes.
Bergstrom,
Yes.
Bush,
Yes.
Eisner,
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Done.
Yes. Next regular meeting is September 8th, 6 PM. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Did I miss something?
Did we approve the hiring of the 4th grade position?
We did.
We did. Okay,
Before closed
excellent.
session.
I didn't have it checked off my list.
Like, you can adjourn if you want.
Just didn't want us
Wanna do
to
that
not
then?
do that.
I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn at 7:46 PM.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Thank
Thank
you
you.
online. Good night.
I miss it too, Joni.
I check things off as we, like resolve them, and I didn't check that off. And I was
Good
just
night,
like,
everyone.
oh my gosh, I don't want to not be able to post that like tomorrow.